The Destiny 2 Scourge of the Past raid is back with Destiny 2 Moments of Triumph 2020, and you need to know how to do it in order to get the sweet looking emblem from the Triumphs page. So this video will quickly refresh your mind on how all the raid mechanics works and how you can get it done very quickly. If you have not done the raid before, this guide should serve you just as well as any other guide, and you should be able to hop in with any raid group and get yourself a pretty quick completion. So let's just get right into it with the first encounter. He'll come in at kind of the bottom left-hand corner of the map, and you'll need to work your way to the center and find a Berserker. The Berserker looks like this. He's going to protect a blue shield around him. You need to have someone shoot him in the chest and someone shoot him in the back. When he is dead, he will drop an orb, and they'll just be marked on the ground, and the orb will need to be taken to the deposit thing by the map up on the little ramp, and when it's in there, it'll start the encounter and bring up this map. So the way this map works is you're going to have one person standing there reading it and one person guarding it while the four people go and look for the berserkers. The berserker that needs to be killed is represented by the orange circle, and the deposit locations are represented by all the green squares, 1 through 5, the fifth one being the actual map. So the other four people will listen to the map reader on where the location of the berserker is. So simply listen to your map reader, find the berserker, kill him, and then separate the remaining four people into two teams of two. The first team will grab one orb, and when the person grabs the orb, they will have a certain amount of yellow dots above their head on the map. This corresponds to where the orb needs to go. So the person on the map will call out 1, 2, 3, or 4 and help guide the person there. In order to deposit the orb at said location, two servitors need to go down. So the other team who is not doing the orbs will simply need to kill the servitors so the person can deposit the orb in the little thing. So the only other thing that needs to happen here is that the Berserker drops two orbs. Make sure the second one goes back to the central map. Otherwise, if the map runs out of battery, you will wipe and the encounter will just have to restart. So the entire encounter is listening to your map reader, having one person take it to wherever the map reader says, and having the other guy go recharge the map. Fairly simple. Your loadout doesn't really matter here. Any supers work, but just make sure you listen to where the map reader is telling you to go, kill the correct berserker, deposit the phase radiance in the correct spots, and you should be able to get through it just fine. So it's not really too hard of an encounter, and this is pretty much the easiest part of the raid. So the next part of the raid is the Sparrow Race. So you will go down below the tunnels, and you'll have to have two people punch two consoles, and when they do that, a circular door will open, and a gigantic flaming servitor will start chasing you. So all you need to do is drive your Sparrow through here, and work your way down to the end where there will be two more little panels you need to punch in order to end the encounter. The only thing that you really need to worry about through here is your Sparrow timing through all of the little holes in the walls and stuff, and that's about it. Now, there are a few buttons through here that you need to hit. Make sure that if you want to go get the secret chest, you can just hit the buttons. But if you miss a button, don't worry about it. Just make sure you have at least two people make it to the end to melee the final two panels. The buttons are glowing red and are relatively easy to see, but if you go past one, there is no going back as the flaming servitor will kill you. So just make sure that you're making forward progress. If you miss a button, it's not the end of the world. Now the other thing is if you kind of have a mistake and you lose your Sparrow, don't panic. Simply stop, pull out a new Sparrow, and keep going. As long as you stay decently ahead of the servitor, you will be okay, and it doesn't really matter if you die. As long as two members of your fire team make it to the very end, you are generally okay. So this is it's not a very hard encounter, but it can get frustrating if you have people dying all the time and everyone's struggling with Sparrow racing. So just make sure that, you try to stick together, don't bump into each other and screw each other up. But as long as you make it to the end, you should be doing just fine. So the third encounter is a gigantic open arena, and to start it, you'll just need to kill the gigantic servitor in the back of the room. So the gigantic servitor in the back is going to play a very important role. So you're going to have three people going underground through the little doors that are initially covered in lightning, and three people staying up top to clear ads. So designate your team appropriately and get ready for the encounter to start. So once the servitor is dead, you'll have 3 people go down. There are going to be some computers down there that you'll need to read. If the computer is red, it's a dead one and you cannot grab it. And if the computer has a shape in it, it's going to be either a square, circle, or triangle. You will need to punch it in order to get a buff. So you just need to make sure that you're getting the same buff each time. So when you go down for the first time, whatever little thing you get, that's yours. So if you get square, you need to make sure before you come back up, you get 2 squares. So again, you're going to go down, there's going to be 1 dead one each time, and you're going to have to look for a square or circle or triangle depending on what shows up. So you need to punch it and then have the people up top kill the gigantic servitor to reset the computers downstairs, and you'll keep moving clockwise looking for a second one of your symbols. So just keep roaming around punching your appropriate symbol, and once you get 2, have everyone communicate with each other and say, okay, I am ready, and then the people up top will kill the servitor, and the lightning blocking the doors that you came down through originally will open up once again, and you will head back up top. There are 3 places that you can deposit the radiance that you have received. There's one in the back left or back right, and one up kind of the central of the middle. Simply go deposit your radiance in one of those, and a tank will spawn. So just make sure that everyone gets in their tanks, and the 3 people in the tanks will do damage to the boss in the center, which is just the giant scrap heap of metal. Now, missiles are going to be coming down all over the place. As long as you have everyone driving kind of clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever your group decides, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Just shoot the thing in the center. As long as everyone's moving in the same direction, you guys won't bump into each other, and everything will be fine. Now, on the bottom left, it'll tell you significant damage sustained or whatever, but at some point, the tank is going to explode, so when it starts kind of flashing, get out of it, head back downstairs, rinse and repeat. So it really comes down to your team's kind of competence at clearing out the ads. If the top team is allowing for a lot of shanks and stuff to go down below, it's going to be a very hard encounter for the people down there because you really don't have enough time to stop and kill stuff. You're constantly looking to get your next little computer so you can get out of there. So if you're up top, make sure you have a wide variety of elemental weapons because they're going to drop in shanks that are, I mean, it's like they have match game on. You really need to make sure you have the correct elements. So just rinse and repeat until you get they can get the boss down, and the chest will spawn in the very back where you came in. So the next encounter is Insurrection Prime Phase 2, and back where this chest is where a map will spawn. So to start the encounter, kill the Berserker kind of down below between the 2 middle buildings and deposit the charge in the little deposit thing by the map. So the map will open up and the gigantic boss will come out of the center. So the boss itself has quite a lot of mechanics to it. So he's got some blue rectangles all over him. So you're going to want to make sure that you snipe all of the blue rectangles on him to bring down his shield. Once that is done, he will start having a orange canister on his back show up. Every time that shows up, that needs to be sniped, destroyed, and just dealt with. Otherwise, I mean, you're going to risk wiping. So you need to have 2 people sniping the boss and the other 2 people on the map, with the final 2 people going after Berserkers. So it's the same as the first encounter, really. The first guy, or the first team, shall I say, that's looking at the map is going to call out where the Berserkers are, and the runners are going to go out and kill the Berserkers. So it's the same exact thing. You're going to pick up a charge, and the guy at the map is going to tell you where to deposit it based off of where he sees 1, 2, and 3 are. So 1 is in back mid, and then back left, I believe, is 3, back right is 2. So deposit them appropriately, and just keep on moving through the encounter. Once you get, I believe it's 4 charges deposited, it will be time to damage the boss. But until then, you need to make sure that your sniper team is dealing with the canister on the back of the boss, and absolutely make sure that the snipers on top of the buildings are dealt with. They are super annoying, and they can make your team wipe if if you let them build up to significant numbers. So just make sure you're depositing all of your charges, and once it's in, a tank will spawn. So when the tank spawns, you're going to have everyone go to green room. You will see in the clip on screen where green room is when everyone goes for their damage phase. So you're going to have everyone go to what's called green room. You'll kind of see it's in the green building. It's a huge open spot. And the boss's shield will go down once it's shot with a tank. A little server will pop out of the middle, and you're going to start damaging it. So there's going to be 3 buffs that go out, and it's C, A, and P. So don't worry about what they stand for. You just need to look at what the first letter of the buff is. So there's going to be 3 buffs total. 2 people are going to have the same buff. So if you get the C buff, you're going to stand left. If you get A, you're going to stand front mid. And if you get P, you're going to stand back right. So if you get everyone with the appropriate buff standing in the correct spots, you're going to get bonus damage. You're going to see your damage go way up, and you should be able to one phase the boss if you get it correct. Now, my group and I did not get the buff to work the first time because one person was out of position. Typical LFG group, not a big deal, but it's going to show you the difference of when you actually get the buff correct. So just make sure that you separate appropriately, because if you do not, the damage you're doing to the boss will be done to your teammates. You'll kill everyone. So if you're in a well, it's not a big deal, but just make sure you have everyone with CAP in the correct spots, and the boss should go down relatively easily. You only have, I believe, 2 or 3 tries to get the boss down, but you shouldn't really need more than that. It's Season of Arrivals, and it's really just super easy. So once you kill the boss, drop down to the center, and you'll be able to go get your loot. Hopefully you'll get Anarchy if you're lucky, but other than that, that's pretty much the entire raid. Just make sure you have Whisper the Worm for the final boss. So that's about it. If you found this video helpful, it would help the channel a lot if you leave a like and subscribe. Really keeps the channel going and stuff starting to pick up off the ground. But anyway, that's it for me. See you guys in the next one.